Hi, welcome to the Neuro Revision Lab. Today we're going to look at the different types of waves in GCSE Physics Paper 2. The first thing you're going to need to know about is sound waves, and to be able to complete simple calculations. Remember, in physics, you can always use a calculator. You're going to need to define and understand both longitudinal and transverse waves. You're also going to be able to draw and label a simple waveform. This is a foundational concept and is essential for understanding the slightly more difficult aspects of waves. Your important keywords this time are energy, oscillation, parallel, perpendicular, and wavelength. Try saying all of those quickly. Take some time to write these words down in your revision book. Practice spelling and sounding out the words, and listen carefully to how these words are used. You can research their definitions later. In particular, practice with oscillation, parallel, and perpendicular. These are three difficult to spell words which are infrequently used and have very specific definitions, which we'll explore later. There are two types of waves, the most common of which are transverse waves, which move up and down. This is an example of its waveform, and they are commonly seen as ripples in water, though they are most famously part of the electromagnetic spectrum, which include light, infrared, and microwaves. We'll look at these in more detail later. The second type of wave are longitudinal waves, which move back and forth. They are commonly associated with sound waves. These are the types of vibrations that your ears pick up. Both types of waves are examples of energy moving. However, they do move in two different ways, and it's very important that you are able to recall the very specific definitions. The first important definition to remember: in transverse waves, the oscillations move perpendicular to the direction of energy transfer. That is, the waves move up and down, and as it does so, the energy moves at a right angle to that motion. The second important statement is longitudinal waves move parallel to the direction of energy transfer. This means that the wave moves back and forth and its energy is also moving in the same direction. In the simulations below, observe the red dots. They don't actually move anywhere. You can see them moving up and down in the transverse waves and from left to right in the longitudinal waves, but they don't themselves travel. Only the energy is transferred. Now we come to labeling our two waves. This appears frequently in GCSE Physics and is a very fast way to score easy marks. Make sure you revise this frequently. We'll label a transverse wave first, as it's quite easy. There are the peaks at the very top, as in mountain peaks. There are the troughs at the very bottom, as in a pig trough. Amplitude, which is a measure of how much energy there is, and we measure it by going from the baseline to a peak or a trough. Wavelength. This is a tricky one. You need to measure it between two equal points. It doesn't matter exactly where, as long as you are starting and ending on similar points. This changes the wave's characteristics and speed, but we'll cover more of this later when we look at electromagnetic waves. Now we come to labeling the longitudinal waves. They're a little bit trickier, and they can be inaccurate if you're not careful. Longitudinal waves have areas of rarefaction and areas of compression. Rarefaction is where the waves are spread out, and compression is predictably where the waves come really close together. You should recognize the patterns in them and remember those two words, but it doesn't appear quite as frequently as transverse waves do. So use your time wisely here. At this point, your revision should look something like this. Ensure your notes are accurate and you're proud of them. Feel free to pause the video and expand or review your notes at this point. At this point, your revision should look something like this. Ensure your notes are accurate and you're proud of them. Feel free to... Alright, let's test those skills with an exam question without using your notes. Number 1, identify this wave type. Then, sketch and label this waveform correctly. And then, question number 3, describe how energy is transferred with this type of wave. Don't forget to highlight your command words, which tell you what you need to do, and any keywords you can find. In this particular question, there is only one keyword, and there are no values, though there certainly will be in the next video, which will cover the calculations that you'll need to use in regard to waves. Pause here, do your best, and we'll have the answers for you shortly. If this channel is helping you, then for more revision resources, tips, and helpful materials, please visit the Neuro Lab store. Everything there is specifically selected or made for neurodivergent learners. And as an added bonus, each purchase supports the channel and allows us to keep producing video content. And as usual, subscribe, like, and share this channel. Okay, so here are your answers. Question 1. Identify the wave type. It is, of course, a transverse wave. You can tell because the waves go up and down rather than back and forth. Question 2. Sketch and label this waveform correctly. To do so, you would need the peaks at the top, the troughs at the bottom, the amplitude showing the height of the wave away from the baseline, and a correctly labelled wavelength between two equal points. Question 3. Describe how energy is transferred with this type of wave. Well, it's a transverse wave, and in transverse waves, the oscillations are perpendicular to the direction of energy travel. The examiners will be looking for those specific keywords, and you should be very specific in your answer. Well done, you've completed another round of revision for GCSE Science. If this video helped, you'll love our specialist neurodivergent notebooks, designed to make learning clearer and easier. Grab yours from the link below. Each book is partitioned with pastel-coloured paper in the Cornell note-taking style. They have every reference that you could possibly need for your science GCSE and are the perfect accompaniment for EHC plans or for simply revising at home. Subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you next time.